Good day. Today we will be talking about epilepsy. This presentation is only for medical professionals and it will be useful for undergraduate medical students, postgraduate students of pediatrics, medicine, psychiatry, and for allied health science students, physiotherapy students, and for nursing students. There is a small disclaimer. Always follow the standard textbook recommended by your university and faculty members. This slide is only for updating or upgrading your knowledge in epilepsy. Okay, coming back to the topic. In most of the topics, the most difficult one to understand is the pathophysiology of the particular topic and mechanism of action of drugs related to the particular topic. At the end of this presentation, I am sure that you will be able to understand the pathophysiology of epilepsy and mechanism of action of anti-epileptic drugs. This is the schema of presentation, epilepsy and overview. In this, we will be covering about the structure of neurons and neurotransmitters related to the epilepsy, mechanism of action of anti-epileptic drugs, and some medico-legal aspects or case scenarios in epilepsy. Coming to the most important part, the structure of the neuron. So this is the structure of the neuron and these are the parts of the neuron: soma, dendrites, axon and synaptic terminals. Now coming to the detailed structure of a neuron. Soma is a cell body of a neuron. So this is a soma and it is a cell body of a neuron. It contains nucleus, ribosome, mitochondria and other structures. This is where much of metabolic work takes place. As per epilepsy is concerned, remember about mitochondria. Mitochondria secretes two important neurotransmitters related to epilepsy, that is glutamate, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter, and GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So we will be dealing about the functions of it later in this presentation. Next important part is the dendrites. Dendrites are the branching fibers that receive information from other neurons. Axon is a thin fiber where information sent from the neuron to the other point. See, this contains mitochondria. Mitochondria secretes neurotransmitters GABA and glutamate. So this GABA and glutamate are transmitted via axons and reaches this part. This is called as a presynaptic terminals. The neurotransmitters glutamate and GABA present in the presynaptic neurons are getting released, and then those released presynaptic neuron are received by the dendrites of the other neuron or the subsequent neuron. This is about the inner structure of neuron. As per epilepsy is concerned, only remember the mitochondria. This mitochondria secretes GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid and glutamate. GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter and glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. Remember that there are many other neurotransmitters, but as far as epilepsy is concerned, only GABA or glutamate are the important ones. See, this slide is the most important part. This is the presynaptic neuron and this is a postsynaptic neuron. And for the next neuron, this will be a presynaptic neuron and other neuron will be the postsynaptic neuron. See, the neurotransmitters which are secreted in the soma are getting released and travel through the axon and getting settled over here. And these neurotransmitters are getting taken up by the postsynaptic other neuron and it goes over here, reaches the other neuron, and then it is getting received by the other neurons, the subsequent neurons. So this is a presynaptic neuron, this is a postsynaptic neuron, and for the next neuron, this neuron will be the presynaptic and the next neuron that will be the postsynaptic neurons. So to summarize, neurotransmitters comes from the soma, it is getting secreted and it is getting released and it travels through the axons. So it travels through the axon and from the presynaptic terminals it takes through the synapses to the next neuron. And remember, sometimes there is a reuptake happens Not in all scenarios. In some scenarios there is a reuptaking happening. Coming to the neurotransmitters in the brain. As I told you in the very beginning of lecture, there are many neurotransmitters in the brain. Just an overview, what are other neurotransmitters present in the brain? So we got amines, we got amino acids. As I told you, remember only glutamic acid and GABA, that is gamma aminobutyric acid, in related to the epilepsy. These glutamic acid and GABA are secreted in the mitochondria of the neuron. Opioid peptides, pituitary peptides, circulating hormones, and hypothalamic releasing hormones. Each one has got a different function, but as per epilepsy is concerned, glutamate and GABA are the two neurotransmitters. So glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter and GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So if there is an excess of glutamate or decrease in the GABA, it may trigger seizures. So glutamate and GABA should be kept at an equal proportion. So as we discussed, these are the presynaptic neurons. Remember, this one slide explains about the mechanism of action of anti-epileptic drugs and also about the pathophysiology of epilepsy. So listen carefully, because at each section, at each channel, there are some drugs acting. So we got presynaptic neurons. We got a group of presynaptic neurons, or the neurons which are close to the brain lesion, such as tuberculoma or neurocytosis, an ischemic lesion, and thrombotic lesion, or an bleed, or an space occupying lesion. See, the neurons which are close to the brain lesions or